Benjamin Sesko was regarded as one of the worst transfers this summer by agents and was called out heavily by Gary Neville, saying that he looks awkward and he doesn't think that he's hit the ground running. Now, in this video, I want to talk about Benjamin Sesko and have a general conversation of his career so far at Manchester United, what I think he can improve on, and ultimately the positives and the negatives, as well as some stats in there as well. Now, what I do want to say immediately about Benjamin Sesko, under Michael Carrick, he's found a great bit of form. I mean, that goal against West Ham was fantastic, and the goal against Fulham as well. Now, let's delve deep into Benjamin Sesko. So, he joined, obviously, Manchester United in the summer from RB Leipzig, a 76.5 million euro deal with 10 million in add-ons. And listen, it was a tricky start for him. He came in, didn't start the first few games. It was Cunha, in Burma and Mount starting large parts of the first game. And then Sesko finally got his first opportunity under Ruben Amorim. And again, he looked alright in large parts under Ruben Amorim. But ever since Amorim left, he's looked pretty good. He's got 6 goals and 1 assist in the Premier League this season. And I think he has been one of United's better players under Michael Carrick. I think hasn't had too many opportunities. I don't think he's actually started a game under Michael Carrick. But in every aspect, when he's come onto the pitch, he's had big impacts. And again, he's a player for me that still has a lot of potential. And I think the criticism of ex-players like Gary Neville and in the media was just uncalled for a 22-year-old coming to a new league and have to adapt to one of the most physical and demanding leagues in the world. Now, as I said, Sesko's stats this season have been pretty alright. I mean, 6 goals, 1 assist in the league's not bad. And again, there's been moments in games where he's looked really good and he's influenced games. You look at some of his moments this season. I remember against Chelsea, he flicked on the ball for Mbeumo, which ultimately led to Sanchez getting a red card. Then you look at more recent against Arsenal, he had a big part to play in the Cunha goal as well. Scored 2 brilliant goals against Burnley, which are fantastic, really good finishes, and that's good movement. A good goal the other day against Fulham and a wicked finish against West Ham. Now let's look at some of the stats. Now he averages 0.49 goals per 90. Now if you compare that with other strikers, it's better than João Pedro, who has 0.47. Obviously João Pedro does have 10 goals this season. Better than Gyökeres, 0.46. Better than Walter 0.44. Better than Mateta, 0.38. And better than Watkins, 0.38 as well. Now all the strikers that I mentioned there are top level strikers and all have more goals than Sesko, but they are getting less shots per 90, and that does show that Sesko is getting in the position when he's on the pitch and is getting to goal scoring position. So listen, he's averaging just under 0.49 or just under 0.5 shots per 90. Now again, you look at his XG, he is exceeding his XG. He has a 5.8 expected goals, he has 6 goals, so narrowly exceeding his XG, which is probably what you expect with the chances that he's had in a Manchester United shirt. Now again, let's look at how much shots he's having per 90. As I said, 3.6 shots per 90. That is and has a 13.6 conversion rate. You look at Ekitike, he actually has 3.4 shots per 90, but obviously does have a higher conversion rate in 17.5%. And then you look at Mo Salah, 2.9 shots per 90 for Mo Salah and an 8.2 conversion rate for Mo Salah. So Disney has a better conversion rate than Mo Salah this season, which is quite surprising because Mo Salah obviously last season was the best Premier League player in my opinion. And the amount of goals he scored, the assists, he was influential in Liverpool winning the Premier League. And look at this season, he hasn't hit the ground running. So the fact that Sesko was kind of deemed as the worst transfer ever in Premier League history before he'd even kick a ball, or just as soon as he kind of got into this United team, was quite poor journalism in my opinion. As I said, there's a lot of positives from Sesko's game. I think his hold-up play is absolutely fantastic. I think the way in which his pressing is very, very good. And he's got a wicked strike on him as well. Aerially, he's fantastic. Yes, it hasn't been great for someone who you spent 85 million euros on. You would expect more than 6 goals. But listen, it's been a transitional period. It's been a tough time for Manchester United going through 2 managers. And I think he's had to deal with a lot of things. And I think you take that into account. You take his performances on the pitch into account. And they have been really good. And as I said, under Carrick, his stats have been very good. 2 goals in 5 games. An assist or a big part to play in the goal against Arsenal. So, listen, it is quite positive in my opinion. And there's still a lot of things to improve on. I think at times he is a bit of a rash striker and does make decisions too quickly when he has more time. I mean, for example, against Spurs, Bruno played him in a lovely ball. He had way more time than he thought, and he just took the first header straight away. But you look at the positives so far from Sesko, his goals have been fantastic. He scored against Sunderland this season. which again they're a difficult team to play against. So listen, I've been very happy with SESKO. As I said, he's had some tough moments, and there's still a lot of time for him to improve. And he is only 22. I think I was someone who was overcritical of him at times this season, but 21 matches, 6 goals, 1 assist, and as I said, under Carrick, 2 goals in 5 games. And yeah, I think he's been absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what you think of Benjamin Sesko. I think it's an interesting player. I think he's a top level player. And as I said, the stats don't lie. He has a better conversion rate than Mo Salah this season, and more shots on goal than the likes of Gyökeres, um, João Pedro, Mateta, Ollie Watkins, who again in recent years have been the Premier League's top strikers. I think there is a talent there that needs to be worked on and developed, and whether that's under Carrick or the next manager, I think they really do have a good striker there. Now, I obviously prefer to sign an experienced level striker, who was 26, 27, could come in and be a top level striker straight away. But I think Sesko, he needs time to develop, and there is definitely a player there. So yeah, listen, and he hasn't played many minutes, but I think he has been a very, very good player for Manchester United, and the positives definitely do outweigh the negatives when coming in and talking about Benjamin Sesko. But let me know your thoughts on Sesko in the comment section below. What do you think of his time so far at Manchester United? I think there are more positives than negatives. Again, he finds himself out of the team at the moment, but I think in that game against Everton, he would be one of the first names on the team sheet. I think that goal against West Ham was fantastic. It was a very, very good goal. Does not look easy, and I think there have been just unforced criticism on Sesko for no reason. And I think if you give him time, I think there's a player there with huge talent who can go on to be something. Listen, you look at, he's been at Leipzig, Salzburg. In his last season at Leipzig, he got 21 goals and 6 assists in 45 games. So he is a player who I think will come good at Manchester United, hopefully. Hopefully next season as well with Europe, he will get more opportunities. I know Carrick right now does kind of favour Burma, but you look at Sesko's mentality. He hasn't kind of down tools. He's been someone when he's come on the pitch has done a very, very good job and putting that sort of work rate and effort. So listen, shout out Benjamin Sesko. I think he is a real talented player, and again, I've been very excited with this and happy with his performances this season. Yes, I think in terms of targets for the season, I think he can definitely end on around 12 to 15 goals this season, which would be great for him and a personal, and then hopefully kick on going into next season. But listen, he's been through a lot, as I said, a few managers already, but I think he looks very sharp, confident and positive. So let me know your thoughts. I mean, the fact that he was kind of deemed as the worst transfer this summer, when you look at sort of players that have gone, Elanga went, Madueke, I'm trying to think, Walter as well. So that, like, at the time, Wirtz wasn't doing great, and Sesko, it was just no need, and he's even been criticised by likes of Gary Neville and these sorts of players. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Sesko. I think it was an interesting conversation to have.